What if I told you that you could predict a recruit's true overall in College Football 25 Dynasty mode with just two pieces of information, their position and their star rating, and the best part is we are accurate within 2 overall points of their true rating. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how that works, why I no longer care about the national rank stat, and I'm going to leave you with an online Google Sheet that you can use today to make your own predictions for your own dynasty. Since this game came out in July, everybody's wanted some sort of method to try and predict a recruit's overall before you invest all the hours scouting them. And in my opinion, a large amount of the confusion stems from one question. What matters more, the national rank of that player or how many stars they have? In other words, is that 3-star linebacker ranked 500th in the nation better or worse or the same as the 3-star linebacker that's ranked 1500th in the nation? To answer this, I analyzed the overall ratings of over 400 different randomly selected high school prospects. This was across over 20 different teams and 4 different years. And I collected data on the position, the star rating, national rank, and their overall at the start of their freshman year. And like I said at the start, the very first twist I noticed was that when it comes to looking at these players, the actual national rank for each individual recruit does not matter. And I can explain using this view right here. So what you're seeing is every single one of the 459 different recruits as a single point on this graph, where the vertical axis represents their overall at the start of their freshman year, and the horizontal axis represents their national rank. Now, it is critical to point out that the axis is transformed, so it's not like your normal axis. The difference between this line and this line is 40 players, but the difference between this line and this line is over 2,400 players. And honestly, that's just so it's easier to see. We could do a regular axis, but it would look like this, which to me is kind of hard to decipher, so we're going with this transformed axis. But axis aside, this is pretty much what we would expect, right? I mean, the players with a better national rank are a lot better than the players that have a worse national rank. And if you were to look from the worst 4 stars right around here, all the way down to the worst 2 stars right around here, there's a pretty sharp decline, which is about what we would expect. So when you look at it this way, you're probably thinking, Max, this is a pretty good predictor of overall, right? I mean, it's a pretty nice line. Well, look at what happens if we color the points based off how many stars each recruit has. And all of a sudden, this view means something completely different. Because sure, we do see the same decline, but we now see that there are 5 distinct steps instead of one gradual ramp. Like, let's just zoom into just that chunk of 4 stars. Within the 4 stars, it doesn't look like there's that big of a difference in overall between the best and the worst 4 stars. And the same can be said with the 3 stars too. There might be a tiny decline, but that also might be related to the fact that I only got about 450, 460 total players in this sample, so there's only a couple hundred 3 stars. So yes, there might be slight variation within each star ranking, but when you look at that colored view, it's pretty clear that each one is a separate step down. And this checks out mathematically too. From this data, when I try to predict a player's overall using their position, their star status, and their national rank, we have a typical miss of about 1.902, which means if we predict somebody to be 75 overall, you add 1.902, you subtract 1.902, and that's about what we think they're at. But if you were to predict that same recruit using just their position and the number of stars they had, our typical miss is 1.906. In other words, rounded to the nearest 10th decimal place, the typical miss is about 1.9 with or without the national rank. So to answer that question from earlier, if we had 2 3-star linebackers, one of them is number 500 in the nation and one of them is number 1500 in the nation, as of right now, I do not think that the number 500 guy is actually that much better in overall than the number 1500 guy. Now, one small caveat here is that I am only looking at the raw overalls for high school recruits. So it may be different for transfers or juco guys, and also maybe the difference between number 500 and number 1500 is how likely number 500 is to have all the cool extra stuff like the faster development traits or cool badges. But in my opinion, that would be a pretty weird move by EA to make the difference not matter at all between 500 and 1500 for overall, but then all of a sudden make that difference matter for all the other stuff. Like, I just don't see that being very likely. So from here on out, I'm throwing out national rank when I'm doing recruiting. A 3-star is a 3-star, and if the 4-star is ranked 301 and the 3-star is ranked 302, that is a bigger difference than the 3-star that's ranked 302 and the 3-star that's ranked 303. But now that we know what matters, let me show you how you can use this today to go and predict any high school recruits overall in your own dynasty. So like I said earlier, I did build a public Google Sheets view that anybody can use. Now it is set to view only, so all you gotta do is save a copy of it onto your own own Google account and then fill in the position and the number of stars, and it'll spit out the predicted overall. Now, obvious disclaimer that this model isn't perfect. It was built using just 2 predictors and me sitting on a plane hand writing the overall for over 450 high school players, but I do think the model is pretty strong. Like I said earlier, the typical miss is about 1.9 overall. So if you put in that player's information on the Google Sheet and you get a 70 overall as a predicted value, I'll do my best to give a little range too of possible values. Now, if you know for a fact that that player is a gem or a bust, throw away the Google Sheet, throw away this whole video. You know how good or bad that player is, and don't use this. This model is currently designed just for unscouted recruits that are high school prospects. So I am not touching transfer players yet. I am not touching juco players yet. This is just for the traditional players. After I post this video, if y'all enjoy this concept and we want to try and build it out to be more accurate for high school players and also have the capabilities for all players, then please let me know in the comments. If people actually want it, I will spend all weekend next weekend writing down overalls so we could build this model. At that point, we'll have a single unified calculator that can predict any recruit's overall, knowing just what type of recruit they are, their position, and what star level they are. But until then, head on over to the description of this video. Go check out the view-only version of the calculator. If you save it onto your own computer so you could edit it, you can go and use it today. Please let me know what you think, how I can make this better, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.